Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to what I know I say this a lot recently, it's another really important video for FIFA 23. One of the big ones, one that's very requested. It's the way to do SBCs. It's not an SBC guide just for one SBC. This is going to help you with any SBC you do throughout the year. Right, so I did do this last year. This got a lot of good comments. You guys seem to enjoy it a lot. So we are back. I'm going to give you all the general tips of how to do SBCs the best way, how to do it with the cheapest coins, how to identify which SBC is a good value or not. And then at the end, we're going to go through my top 5 SBCs that you need to complete in FIFA 23. So just before we get on to those SBCs, make sure you're staying tuned and let me know down below which ones you think are the best. We're going to go through just some general tips and stuff, and this is going to go all the way from people that have maybe never played FIFA before, need a lot of help, but even if you've been playing FIFA for years, there might be a few tricks and stuff in here that you learn. I certainly, when I was making this video both this year and last year, I've definitely learned stuff while doing it, although obviously my whole channel is based on SBCs. You'd think I'd know everything. Always room for improvement, guys, okay? But enough waffling, let's get into it with our first tip, and this is one that I see people do, even when they've done SBCs for years. I've been guilty of it, not really in the past 2 years. I've really been conscious of it, because you've got to be when you do the SBCs all the time. But I know a lot of people aren't, even if they're seasoned players, is make sure you have enough coins to do the SBC. And that sounds stupid, right? But especially if you're using Footbin, Footwiz, any of those, 4 solutions, and it says like 12k, you've got exactly 12k, have a few extra coins, because prices will go up and down. You never know. So if you can, obviously you've got the time, I know you're pressed for time sometimes, try and check every player's value in the SBC before you buy them, okay? And then just add it up, make sure that you can actually afford them, okay? So the worst thing you can do is maybe get one player short on an SBC. You might have sold any players in like your team or something to do it if you're one of those people. I personally don't do that, we'll get onto that later. And then you can't do the SBC, you're stuck without a team and without the pack from the SBC, so you're literally just stuck. So, especially at the start of the year, it's really important you actually make sure you have not just enough coins to do the SBC. If it says 12k on Footbin, you have 12k or whatever. Try and have about 2 or 3k in reserve just in case prices change. It's better to do the SBC and overpay by about 300 coins than just not do the SBC at all and be stuck with loads of players you can't use. And just moving on from that, I did kind of touch on it a little bit. This is only for me, this is a personal preference one. Do not use players that are in your team for SBCs, okay? If they're going to be more useful in your team, earning new coins through rivals, foot champs, squad battles, whatever, than they are in an SBC. If they're in your team, don't put them in an SBC, okay? Unless it's insane value, unless it's like a brilliant player who's going to go in your team instead of them, I'd keep them, okay? Especially if you're doing pack SBCs, you're probably going to get something worse back. Right, and here's one that's going to apply to everyone. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's starting from kind of the same position from this. Doesn't matter if you played FIFA 4 years, it's your first time, whatever, okay? Get to grips with the new chemistry. Understand how the new chemistry works. I've got a video on it. I'll link it down below. If I remember, I'll put it in the top corner. I think it's that corner, actually, but I can't remember. Yeah, you need to get to grips with the chemistry. If you're going to do SBCs, you need to know what you're doing, you know, and you need it for team building as well. I've done a video on it, loads of other people have. You can practice your chemistry skills on Footbin and stuff, but just understand the new chemistry and the new positioning system, okay? So I'm not going to go into that because I have done a video on it, but with the positioning system, if you're buying position modifiers, make sure that you put them into the cost of the SBC, okay? Because that's another way you can get caught out. If you have maybe 4 players that are on position modifiers and then you haven't moved their positions, you can end up getting done by that as well, so just be careful. Now we get on to the classic, it's Cabo one. This is one that still people don't do enough in my opinion. Bid on players for SBCs, they will be cheaper. You might be aware that I don't bid when I do my tutorials for you guys. That's to make sure the prices are realistic. But if you bid, you can definitely undercut what I do and save yourself. Maybe at least, you'll save at least 50 coins a player. You add that up, you're probably going to get a few more on some cards as well. You could end up saving a K, 2k, easily depending on the cost of the SBC. Especially the more expensive ones, you can make really, really good undercuts on the actual price if you bid, okay? So just be aware of that. Especially when you're doing SBCs that maybe require some silver rares, stuff like that. Bidding is your friend completely. And I have just mentioned silver rares, so I might as well carry on with them because that is one of my other points. If an SBC is maybe like 76 to 78 rated and needs a rare, use a bronze or a silver rare and not a gold rare, okay? Because you can get yourself a silver rare for, I believe, 250 coins, 300 if it's a high rated one, bronze rares for 150. It's at least 650, normally 700 to get yourself a gold rare. So that is just easy, coins saved. And the same with non-rares as well. It's not as important for them, but you can use silver and bronze players. You can get silvers for 150. You can get 74 rated players for 150. And then, obviously, it's going to be at least 300 for a gold rated player that's 1 rating higher. So go for silvers where you can. And when we are talking about silvers, some things that I'd recommend is go with Romanian League as well. Argentina is good. Mexican League used to be brilliant. It's a shame that's gone. Yeah, normally just like South American leagues or stuff like the Saudi League or Eastern European leagues can be perfect. Avoid the top 5 leagues, then avoid like the likes of the Eredivisie if you can. Portugal is a bit of a weird one. Portugal, you'd expect it doesn't work, but Portugal can be brilliant sometimes. Gold, if you're trying to do like non-rare golds, if you're trying to get cheap gold players, I'd recommend the MLS, the Turkish League, the Eredivisie, and again, the Portuguese League. They can all be your friends. If you're going for nations, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina are my nations of choice normally. And just while we're talking about leagues and that kind of thing, when you have an SBC that says, oh, you need 3 players from this league, whatever, and it gives you a certain league, get the players from that league. Don't get more than that because their prices have gone up, and then switch league, okay? I love doing that. It saves so many coins because I'm sure a lot of you guys will build a team if it's maybe include 2 Premier League players, or with marquee matchups, include a player from Arsenal and Chelsea or something like that. You'll buy a whole team that links to those players, especially with the new chem. I'm sure people are going to be doing that more and just getting full chem for league only. So just be aware of that, please, guys. Just make sure that you kind of get out that league because all their prices are going to be inflated, and goes maybe to one of the leagues I suggest. Especially perfect links, strong links, that kind of thing are really important doing that, so try and get them if you can. And obviously the same goes for nations as well. If you're stuck in a certain nation, try and move nations if you can. Maybe leagues as well. So if it's Germany as the nation, maybe avoid Bundesliga as well as German players, just because a lot of people will get their Germans from the Bundesliga and then have to link to Bundesliga players, making them go up as well. So just be aware of that. It's a great way to save coins when you're trying to build your own squads. Just a few more things about specific SBCs before we get on to the best ones for you to do. Don't do kit SBCs. I know some kits will be very nice, but they're always overpriced. Same with badges, tifos, that kind of thing. Just ignore them. And with player SBCs, by all means do player SBCs, but only do them if you're going to use the player, okay? I know a lot of people that just do SBCs, waste half their team, getting a player that they end up even not using. If they're going straight in your team, and they maybe play for your club, or they're one of your favourite players or something like that, do it. By all means do it. If you're going to get fun out of it, do it. But don't just waste coins on a player you're never going to use. So I think it's time, guys, for us to get into the top SBCs you should do on FIFA 23. So right guys, just to be clear, I'm not playing the game or anything early here. I am on FIFA 22 to show you this because I think it's just a little bit easier to be on console than on the web app. We are going to be talking through our 5 SBCs. Most of them are going to be found in the foundations because the foundation SBCs are always OP. I'm sure you all know that. And you can use my methods for them, which is perfect. So unfortunately, they are a little worse than last year, these SBCs, because they are now untradeable. You can see here, all these packs are tradable. They're now going to be untradeable, which is a bit annoying. But I think they're still worth doing nevertheless, especially at the start of the year. They get some players in your squad, and they are actually a little bit cheaper this year as well. So we're going to start with first 11 here. That's my number 5 SBC, first 11. And the reason it is here is because it is genuinely more expensive than the one that comes fourth. I'd say they're equal for how good they are, but this one is slightly more expensive. So I put it in below. So you will find this one, if you're looking for it, in the hybrid leagues SBC set. All of these are really good. Whole 9 yards I certainly recommend. 7 league boots, and these are probably only worth doing it as part of the set. But as a set, guys, they're even better than last year because you get an untradeable. I know it's untradeable, but it's a 100k pack rather than, I believe, a 50k pack, well, 55k pack for completing them. So first 11 comes in 5th. Should be easier this year because loyalty is not a thing. Moving on to 4th, I said that it was an SBC that was level with it. I'm sure a lot of you can guess what it is from that. It is going to be around the world. Again, this one is a lot cheaper this year, but this one is always really easy. The only thing that you might struggle with this year is position changes. It gives you a 50k pack. Well, it gives you a 55k pack this year. They've changed it, so I don't know if that's slightly better or slightly worse, but it does give you consumables for your club, which is really nice, and you will need them at the start of the year. It'll give you chem styles, contracts, managers, everything that you need, as well as some good players. So we have a look at it here. It's generally quite a bit cheaper than the other one, and it doesn't require as many position changes and things like that. So there you go, just see it here. 8 rares, I believe that's the same, and then obviously the chemistry has changed for this year, but that is a really nice one to do. So coming in 3rd, we have got one that actually was higher last year. It was 2nd on our list last year. That is going to be from the League and Nation hybrid. It's going to be the Puzzle Master, okay? It's actually been made significantly easier this year, and it does give you a 50k pack rather than 55, so it gives you just players, which I'm sure a lot of you will prefer, actually. But yeah, this one's quite nice. It's only 6 and 5 this year rather than 9 and 7 for countries and leagues to make it a little bit more attainable for you lot. And obviously no loyalty as well means that you don't have to waste time not playing games and stuff. So that one will be significantly easier this year. So yeah, I definitely do like it, but it has moved down because it is now untradeable, unfortunately, same as the others. Right, so second place is one that you will find all the time. It's not actually out on FIFA 22 at the moment, so I can't show you it. I'll show you this one instead. We've got a gold triple upgrade and stuff like that. The normal gold upgrade SBC, there'll be an upgrades tab at the end. Normally, it will be on there. It's 11 non-rare golds, and you get yourself 2 rare golds in return. It's so OP at the start of the year, just for getting players. Maybe even if you're doing like player pick SBC, stuff like that, just to get yourself rares, translate those cards that you're never going to use into cards you are going to use. It is so good, and you can just keep cycling it. I'd say only put non-rare golds in. You can do the method as well, where you go from the bronze upgrade, get silvers, then you put the silvers into the gold, and so on, and it keeps going, That is really helpful. Means that you get rid of fodder that you'd never otherwise use, so I would really recommend doing that method. There's some other videos on my channel where you can see me doing that. I'll do it on streams as well. Obviously, if you guys have got any questions, just hop onto streams if I'm live, or just leave a comment down below, and I'll try and help you with that. But yeah, gold upgrades, only putting commons to it, but it's a great SBC for getting started with the game. And one that has long been known as my favourite SBC, okay, and it actually takes the crown this year because it's the only tradable SBC set. It's not a thing on FIFA 22 anymore because no one's playing that. The marquee matchups. If you're looking for the marquee matchups, there's 4 of them every week. They'll be in the live tab and they reset every Thursday. You get a 25k pack for doing all 4 this week, which is quite nice. Yeah, it sometimes even gets better. You get a 35, whatever. Sometimes later in the year, you'll get mega packs and stuff, even for just doing one in the SBCs. But the bottom 2 especially are normally worth doing on their own. That one is just so good because it's still tradable. It might even be the only tradable SBC that comes out consistently this year. There's going to be flash SBC, stuff like that, which I would definitely recommend doing, guys. They're normally worth it. Just got to use your own judgment there. What I'd say is if the cost of the SBC is more than the pack, obviously leave it. You want maybe, as a rule of thumb, maybe 5k under the cost of the pack, and then it kind of increases as the pack gets better. So it's a 15k pack, maybe like, I don't know, like 3k to do it. If it's a 7.5k pack, probably like 2k to do it. Stuff like that. Try and have maybe like, I'd say maybe a 5k gap with those, but when it gets higher, if it's a 50k pack, I'd say like 20k as your kind of limit. 55k pack, the same, 20k as the limit. Ones where you're not risking too much, okay? That's what I'd recommend you do there. But marquee matchups is going to be my number 1. So just another little thing to pick up on, there is going to be some SBCs that come out throughout the year in the live tab that aren't players. I already spoke about players, of course. Player picks are brilliant, okay? Here we see the 82 plus player pick that's out at the moment. We'll definitely see that during promos. 6 rares this time, but during the start of the year, it's sometimes 3 rares, stuff like that. Those are unbelievably good, okay, because even if you don't want to do them to just pack stuff, obviously, I'm sure you want to pack stuff, but even if you're not doing them to pack stuff, if you want to do one of the SBCs, it comes out during a promo, so obviously we've got some here, but I'm thinking earlier in the year, there's some really good ones, especially during Team of the Season. You can use those upgrades to get good fodder for the Team of the Season, okay, and with the player picks, if you don't like any of them, just pick the highest rated player that's not already in your club, okay, really, really good way to do SBCs cheaper. Along with the gold upgrade, pair them together even, and you've got a really, really good winning formula right there. That's going to be all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As I said earlier, any questions, leave them down below or have a chat to me when I'm live, okay? SBCs will be coming out soon for anyone that needs them. Next week, done an update video on why it's taking a little while on that. So go and watch that as well. Again, I'll link it down below. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon for more FIFA 23 videos. Goodbye.